the reciprocity comes from a couple of foundational common understandings. One is that studying with students is valuable for everyone. So whether you're a classroom teacher studying student learning, whether you're a school principal studying student learning with the teachers in the building, whether you're an SO, all of the decisions that you make are about that student learning, and same with at the ministry level. So our primary goal of having high levels of achievement for all students means that studying the actual student learning is a core part of across the entire system. So I think that's the key. So that where Swiss started, was studying that student experience, is an anchor for everyone within the system. The second is maintaining that inquiry stance. So both Dave and I are on the research team with the Literacy and Numeracy Secretariat, and I think that that's a commitment to learning. We're not just putting things out there and hoping it works. We're actually researching it, studying it, evaluating it, shifting, adjusting along the way, taking into account the voices across all the entire system, and most importantly, looking at that, what's going on with students. Are they engaged in their learning? Are we providing the best possible education that we can? And I think that reciprocity comes from we're all engaged in this work. We all share these two pivotal pieces, and in order to actually make it happen, we need to be able to learn from each other's learning, and that means a school principal who's interested in shifting the way in which they think about their school improvement plan can learn from a teacher, can learn some of the pedagogical documentation strategies and apply it in a new way to bring in student voice to the school improvement plan. From an SO level, they've got their thinking and planning and awareness of the resources that the system has at play, and can learn from school principals and teachers and students about the best way to actually maximize the utility of the resources that they have. And I think it's the same thing at the ministry. We need to engage in inquiry ourselves to maximize what we're actually trying to achieve.
I think that the model itself is kind of sits on that premise, the premise that you're very conditional, you're taking some risks in whatever role you are, whether that's at the ministry level or at the district level or at the school level, and you're committed to having really rich effects for learning experiences for students, and you're also so you're holding the commitment to creating classroom experiences that are rich and impactful for student learning, while not being directive in the system at somebody else going about and doing it. So your coordination has to be uncertain. Your stance in terms of your authority as a leader in a district has to also be conditional and uncertain. And it's that process that is the tricky catch to pull off what Rachel's talking about there. Like, I think you could say very easily that, I had 3 teachers that studied this pedagogic move, and therefore I want all my 100 teachers to study or to work on that pedagogic move, and in moving it from from a stance of learning to a stance of directing somebody else at it, that's where you might get marginalization. So you really do have to honor that process in the study of the context, whether you're also at the same time that you're explicitly studying your own context, right? So it's that kind of, I think, in terms of getting district benefit for CI work going, it's that understanding, and it's the quality of working in, it's the tension between working in a hierarchy as well as being uncertain in your learning experiences within the positions you are. So you recognize almost in lots of ways that you don't necessarily know what's going, even though you have to articulate effect in all these different ways and you're accountable for effect in all these different ways, you can still be uncertain in your stance about accountability. And I think that's the big puzzle piece to shift in.
And I think that back to what we're learning about student learning informing system learning, one of the key insights that many educators have had is that taking an asset stance towards studying student learning and describing what is there, what they are able to do, has been such a critical catalyst for the next steps in learning. At a system level, it's the same. So what capacity is in the system? Focusing on the assets and resources that all educators are bringing to the table across the system, and starting from there has led to a lot more effective next steps, as opposed to analyzing data and saying, oh, this is a problem, let's focus on the problem. It's been a lot more effective of starting from the assets and and visioning forward. Where do we want to go? How can we make this richer? How can we build on what we already have in the system?